Alrighty, so this was the last XTI, WTI, if you like, trade idea that I posted in video format, and you'll see that here. This was the idea, looking for the pullback and break of structure. So what I want to do with this video is just show you how to take this trade and where to next. We'll have a look at another trade idea. Notice the line under here. See this purple line? That's the value area low of the volume profile that we pulled from back here. And we're looking for the high and the low of the volume profile, trades up, trades back to the low. The higher time frame is in this direction. So I'm looking for the fade back into value when it breaks out of the volume profile and then it fades back in and reclaims. So then we look for that opportunity. Now, just quickly whip over here and I'll show you this. And then I'm going to start a TradingView video and we'll do a full analysis and we'll look at a new opportunity. I know there's a lot of stuff on here, but here's the thing, guys. Look, just take that out. What this gives you is this indicator more than anything. I'm just going to take out this range indicator here. And we have a system where if the higher time frame's bullish, right, as we can see with the indicator on the right, see how the 4 hour is green? If that's the case, we ignore all these signals and we look for exactly this. I'll show you. This is what we call an A+ setup, and I'm going to explain why. In fact, we're going to go to a 15-minute time frame. We ignore all these signals here. I mean, you can scalp those if you want to, but that's counter-trend scalping and it's risky. Right? See how over here the 4 hour is bullish where my mouse is? So we're going to ignore red signals completely. I'm going to take that out. And I want you to watch this. Actually, I'll place it back in there because we're going to need it. I'll just narrow it up a bit. What we're looking at is, see this red, yellow, value area high, current week point of control. See these things, and the orange, previous day point of control, current day point of control, this down in here, CD, this cluster. This is the volume profile cluster. Now what we're looking for is the break above the volume profile cluster in a bullish trend. And we're looking for the break above the VWAP cluster. So you've got, it's so simple. I know there's a lot of stuff on the chart, but one is the volume profile cluster, and the other one is the VWAP cluster. And all that is purple, blue, and there's two blue dotted lines or dashed lines. There's 4 lines. All we're waiting for is the signal break above the VWAP, the volume profile cluster, and the signal break above, this is the VWAP cluster. That's it. It's as simple as that. Okay, volume profile cluster, VWAP cluster. You don't have to even think about it because the system is going to give you everything you need. So if we run this, I'll run it on 5 times. Just have a look and see. Hold it there. There was a signal that flashed. That was a breakout above this level here, and it went off. That's okay. On and off. When it flashes, it'll show up over here, and you can come in and look at that and see whether you want to get involved. See this red line? That's the previous day close. So let's just include that in the volume profile cluster. So we've got an alert for the breakout of the volume profile cluster and an alert for the breakout of the VWAP. You've got 2 alerts. It's as simple as that. Let's just run it and have a look and see what happens here. Look, see this? See that buy signal? That's your signal to get involved. This is the breakout of the VWAP cluster. Higher time frame is bullish, 4 hour. We take that trade. Now I got in a lot earlier. I got in down in here. All right, so I don't encourage that, right? But go on that. Now here's the other thing. Oh, the volume profile is going to move with price because there's a new value area forming here. That's okay. The previous volume profile is back in here. I don't want to get complicated with this. Look, that's the volume profile. We were looking for the breakout of that. Okay, here it is. Look. And I know this moved pretty quickly, but you've got the purple dotted lines here, and you saw some signals flashing on. That's the breakout of this value area. Price will tend to trade to the high, to the low. All right, this is a system. You got a value area. It trades to the high, to the low, to the high, to the low. Okay, that's the range, and we're always looking for this is called a fade back into value. Okay, value area low is here. You can see it, right? This is the fade back into value. You're not looking at these sell signals. That's just breaking under the VWAP. Don't even take any notice of that. But when it fades back into value, you can take that trade. We've got an alert for that as well. We're going to get into an analysis, and we're going to look for the next opportunity shortly. But so that volume profile break fade up into value here, and the break out of the volume profile and out of VWAP here. So you take that trade right there on that buy signal. In fact, just to talk about the fade back into value, look at this. In a bullish trend, okay, I'll show you this. Okay, you want the value area when it drops under, get in there, or when it breaks above, get in there. You got two options. When it drops under, this is the value area, fades back in, get in there, or it breaks out, get in there. Here, you've got a new value area, high and low. There's the low, that's the high. Watch this, look. And you can see that the lines, that's the high, that's the value area low. It trades to the high, it trades back to the low, okay? That's an entry point right there. And that's also the breakout of here. And it's the new value area low. Okay, so new value area low. See? Or more precisely there. See what I'm getting at? So you're looking for that rotation. Rotation here, trades up, rotation there. And then, and then it continues on, right? So that's, in a nutshell, our strategy. That's what we're looking for. So then you can get involved there. And, the rest is history. So you take profit. I would look to take partial profits at 1R and then, trail it. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're just going to knock that on the head, exit the replay, leave that, and we'll get into a look at the outcome. That's insane. So that's starting to build a cluster. So I'm just waiting for the cluster here. I want the breakout of the cluster. Let's see if we get it. And here's the other thing too. Once this gets going, oh no, look, it's a whole other video. I won't bother. Okay, let's go out of the of this, and we'll come back over here. Now I'm just going to include TradingView now. Okay, we're looking at XTI, WTI would be pretty similar. All right, we're looking for an opportunity here. And this was a video that I actually posted. If you go into my history here, you'll see it, the last one. We were looking for this pullback, rotation, and expansion. So we actually got exactly that. Oh, it was where was it? Yeah, it was here. Okay, so we were looking for, if we go down to a 30-minute chart, we were looking for this to pull back and then continue up. That was my drawing, something like that. So now, what's the story? We've had a bit of volatility. Where to next? Okay, let's just clear out the drawings and we'll start again and have a quick top-down look at it on the daily. And I want to see how this is trending in relation to the previous day. It's still an inside day. This is an inside day here, inside the previous day. However, it's pushed up above the previous day. Look at this, the previous day close. All right, so that's bullish. And we've got a little pin bar under here. So I think my bias is definitely going to be bullish. WTI, XTI, okay? Based on the daily price action. So if that's the case, and I mean, yeah, we can see that we've got this trend going on, right? I'll go down to the 4 hour and just work my way down and look for the next opportunity. See, this is beautiful price action. The only thing you got to worry about is when you get too comfortable when it's trending like that, everyone's going to FOMO in big time over here, and then look what happened, right? So, you want to get in early on when these moves start, and then it's very easy trading if you do that. And this is one instrument that is actually really nice to trade. At the moment, this is kind of extended, so you just want to be a little bit careful because we don't know if that is going to happen sometime soon, given that we've got push 1, push 2, push 3, okay, 3 drives and correction, or you could argue Elliott wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ABC, and then maybe that, right? So just be careful. You got a bit of a pin bar up in here too. So, all right, my bias was bullish on that daily, but you just got to watch the daily pin bars as well, even though that's both-sided pin bar, if you will. It is pushing up from the base. It's not one-sided. So there's definitely buyers seriously involved with this. Anyway, so we go down 4 hour. What I do like about it is, and I'm always looking for this, like a higher high, higher low, higher high, pull back, higher low, get involved. Anytime higher high, higher low, I'm good to go. It gets a bit scary here, and then you get back into it when it trends, right? So here, I mean, look, there's ways to get involved with this, but we'll go down to a 30-minute chart, and I'm going to just show you how I would approach this. First thing I'm going to grab is a volume profile. And I'm looking at the high and the low here. In fact, if you do this, you do that, pull it back, all right, mark up the high and the low, then grab the volume profile, anchored, and you want to pick up that last low area and just pick up this particular range that you've got here. That's one way to do it. Okay, so this is really specific. And notice how it trades to the high, back to the low, up to the high. My question is, given that this is range bound still, do we head back down to the bottom of the range before we, I mean, how many times are we going to do that before it does that? Or is it going to do that? We don't know yet. But the thing is, the volume profile is the boss. And this is why. Basically, it's going to trade from the high to the low of this range. It's range bound. That's what a range is. See, look, this is what I'm talking about here. I'll show you. There's a range. There's another range, right? So this is a value area range. Volume profile will map these out. I can show you that, right? So you've got, if you grab a fixed range and you go from back here to here. Yeah, and we fix it, right? I'll show you the setting on that, actually. You go in here and just don't extend it to the right, yeah? So grab it again. Okay, this is the next value range. The next value range back here. I'm doing exactly what I showed you up in here. So it gives you a high and a low, and this is volume profile. Smart money algos work on two things. They work on VWAP and volume profile. Okay, VWAP, volume weighted average price. So what we're doing is, and see how it'll trade from the high to the low of the volume profile, the high to the low to the high to the low to the high, back down to the low, and then up it goes. That's price discovery. Low, volume profile, to the high, to the low, to the high, and then down, and up we go, right? So it's going to wiggle around between the high and low of these value areas. So that's what's going on here, right? So if you understand this, it'll help you, definitely give you an edge, right? So that's one thing. So now we've got this volume profile. You can grab the fixed range if you like. You can do exactly what I did, throw it in there. It'll give you the same thing. There's the, look, you see the blue lines? Well, you got the, on the fixed range, I've got it as like a fuchsia color dashed line. All right, so we've established now that this is range bound, and it is an inside day. That's another thing. It's an inside day in relation to the previous day. So then it's range bound until there's two things that can happen with this. One, and this is a typical Wyckoff thing. Actually, this is a perfect example right here. Look at this, guys. Seriously, this it just doesn't get any better than this. Look, you get the range, you get a fake out. I call it the fakey shaky chart pattern. The fake out, the shake out. All right, now this is a typical Wyckoff range. Now, the longer this travels, the more intense, more momentum in the breakout. That's something to be mindful of. See the difference? That was a short-lived range, not much of a breakout. Longer range, bigger break. Okay, so when it's trading like that through a value area, get ready for some serious, right? Some serious action. All right, so this is a typical Wyckoff insofar as you get the range and then you get the dip under. This is a spring in Wyckoff world, okay? The spring, and then you get that, like the manipulation, and then it goes into price discovery. It's going to discover the next value area. This is an auction. Okay, buyers and sellers agree. So this is what's called fair value. When it breaks out of here, it goes into, well, it's an imbalance, right? It's not, this is balance. There's a balance of buying and selling. In here, it's more or less out of balance because it's one-sided. I guess you could, look, every side has an opposite. So it's called an imbalance, or let's just call it a fair value gap. Fair value gap as it trades out of here. And then it finds through here. Then it finds fair value where everyone's agreeing on this price, more or less. It's quite wide. But these are the areas where smart money are going to be working their orders. So you want to know what they're doing. You want to get a bit of a sense of, what this is about. And that's exactly what it's about. They manipulate this. They can't go in here all of a sudden, with multiple millions of however much capital they've got and just decide to buy. They've got to break it up into small packages and work it through this level. Then they're going to manipulate it to get more liquidity. And then they take it down, they wipe out that liquidity down there, and that gives them everything they need to pair their orders. They're long, and then what happens is this starts to trend, and as it progresses, retail FOMO's in, right? I want to get in down in here, that's my thing. Just after, and even earlier. So on this is called a reclaim into value. It breaks under and it fades back into the value area. So in a bullish trend, I'm always looking for that opportunity at the base of a value area. Now the thing is, you can scalp this. Say you'd enter here, long. Okay, that was short-lived, comes back down. So, take profits and do what you need to do. I would enter long again here. I would enter long again here because you just don't know when it's going to be, you're going to get that. So you got to manage it as best you can. Take partial profits. I would take 50, 60% off. And stop loss comes up a bit, and then it's a bonus if it continues. If it doesn't, and you'll trail your stop loss here as well. If it doesn't, your stop loss goes, and you've already made money. That's the idea. That's what I'm wanting to get across here. So with this, and especially see the red line, that's the point of control. Don't get involved there, guys. You want to wait for either. It breaks down. That's an entry point right there. That fade back into value. Follow it up. Okay, here's the thing. And then we're going to look at the next. And my bias is I only want to buy because the higher time frame has been pushing up. And I mean, can this turn around and all of a sudden it's crashing? Yeah, it can. But while it's, the momentum's heading north, I'll get involved. So that's an ideal buy if you're game, right? Okay, it's not an easy gig sometimes, but the break back into value, as soon as it breaks back in there, actually, that's where you can get involved. It breaks out and it breaks back in. You get a candle out of this value area. Okay, then you get back in there. Tight stop. All right, now, I would be looking to take 60% of my position off at 1R. So measure up 1-to-1 risk reward, right? So that would be somewhere there. Okay, so take 60 and then that just comes up. And then if that gets touched, it's profitable. So let's just say you've got one in there at the moment that's running. All right, well, we're happy with that. Now, there's a possibility that price works the other end of this value range, comes back down again for another crack at it. Who knows how many times, right? And then at some stage, we're looking for price discovery. If this, what's going on here? Oh, that's measuring, okay. If it comes back down into here, and I mean, look, if you can push your stop loss up higher, so you could move your stop loss to, let's just draw it. Let's just say under here, for example, right? That's an ideal level. So now your stop loss has moved up. So this is fully in the money. If that comes down, you've made money, and then you get another opportunity if this trades through here and breaks back into value. So that's another potential long there. All right, so we buy. Now, the thing with this is at some stage, this could turn around. I mean, you get that Elliott wave thing, right? This could be the 5-wave structure, and this is looking to crash and trade all the way back down in here, looking for liquidity. This could be the time, right? So if you enter here, keep your risk. I mean, look, you've already made money on that, right? So that's the key. And see, if you follow this strategy, there's another, you're already well and truly, you've made money on 2 trades here. You followed that up, right? Your stop loss was up here. All right, you came back down. That got taken out, and that's profitable. So there's a couple in. So you build a little bit of a buffer, and that gives you a lot of confidence. So you got money to spare. Okay, so that's my first entry point here. Now, can it turn around and break out of here? And yes, it can, in which case you're going to lose one. Fine. However, if this is that run on liquidity where that just goes on a tear, that's the one you're looking for. Now, if you miss that, the next opportunity comes right here, when it breaks out of value, right? Now, the risk with this is that, okay, it does that. So you've got to be a little bit careful. If it breaks out of value, go long. As soon as it breaks back in, just cut your losses, guys, and be done with it. All right? So I would say possible, if it trades down in here, okay, buy. Actually, it's when it breaks back in, right? And understand that that's the risk. The risk is real. Here, buy. That's your risk. Okay, risk. Stop loss just under the value point of control would be okay. Something like that. Buy when it breaks into value, right? Etc. Underneath that, that's risk. All right, that's real. You gotta keep an eye on that. So what I'm saying is, just go for, if it pulls back in here, that's an opportunity when it breaks in. So that's a buy. If it trades down, he takes you out. So be it, right? But if it goes into price discovery, I mean, what you can do, if you make 50%, you close profits at 60% off. You take 60% off, I should say. If you do that, and this trade here is in the money, then open the next trade as this is trending up, especially when it breaks out of here. All right. So if that's in the money, you've got a buffer. Go in again. See how you go. All right. That's a trade plan. Keep your stops reasonably tight under the previous low. Do that. All right. What else can I say, guys? This is a trading strategy that you can really run with, and yeah. Oh, and the other thing that you need to keep in mind is that there's 2 things. One is volume profile, and the other one is use VWAP. So grab a VWAP, have a look. See this? I'm going to throw VWAP on the low here. See when it breaks above VWAP here. That's the break back into value. That's when that will tell you that buyers are in control on that VWAP break above there. Okay, after it's reclaimed value. Entry. See here, look, here, VWAP on the low. See this? See the break back into value above VWAP? There's your entry point right there. So just follow that. And back here, let me just get rid of this. Maybe that one. Oh, you could probably leave that in there. Grab a VWAP, anchored VWAP, throw it on here, and you got 2 now. You've got the previous low, and see when it reclaims value, how it trades above VWAP. There's your entry point there. All right, so you're going long. So again, now when it pulls back down, you look for the previous low. Well, we've got a VWAP on here. And that VWAP will alter according to volume, right? Volume weighted average price. So it'll probably, move back down. And so if it pulls back down here, just throw another VWAP on the base. And then the VWAP cluster, you go in after the VWAP cluster. Hope that makes sense. Anyway, guys, look, I spend my life kind of dedicated to this. So, yeah, comment if you've found any value. That'd be awesome. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. And got to make that risk real. You're going to win and lose trades, but the idea is you come out on top overall. With that, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.